Fog clung to the Capitol grounds like an accusation, curling around the marble pillars in slow, ghostly spirals as Agent Mara Vance stepped past the yellow CID tape. Her boots echoed down the long corridor, each step a reminder that she was too late to stop whatever had begun here tonight. The air felt heavy, an electric, humming kind of silence that always followed violence, as if the building itself was holding its breath. The body lay in the center of the hearing chamber, face down beside a scattering of papers and a toppled metal chair. Blood had dried in a thin, deliberate arc across the hardwood floor, the mark of a blade wielded with surgical discipline. Mara crouched beside the body, taking in the details, the cut too precise for panic, too clinical for passion. A message, not a murder. Someone wanted this to be found. She rose slowly, sensing eyes on her. Senator Hale Rowan stood near the far wall, tall and composed, though his sharply pressed suit was smeared with someone else's blood. His demeanor was unervingly calm, the kind of calm that suggested either deep control or deep guilt. Representative Lena Cross stood beside him, dark hair pulled back tight, eyes sharp enough to cut glass. She looked shaken, but not surprised. "We didn't touch the body," Hale said, voice low, confident. "We found him like that." Mara studied him carefully. People always revealed themselves in the moments after death entered a room. Hale's stance was too measured. Controlled. He was hiding something, she could feel it. Lena stepped forward, voice barely above a whisper. "Agent Vance, we need your help. This isn't just an attack. It's a warning." "For what?" Mara asked. The two lawmakers exchanged a loaded look, one that carried history, secrets, maybe even a threat. "Our bipartisan proposal," Hale answered. "We were meeting tonight to finalize a deal. A joint effort to extend federal tax credits, at least publicly." Mara raised an eyebrow. "And privately?" Lena inhaled sharply, as if confessing could summon more danger. "Privately, that the credits fund a classified protection program. A system designed to safeguard high-risk witnesses whose testimonies could dismantle a corruption network bigger than anything CID has ever uncovered." "And someone doesn't want that program renewed," Mara said. Hale nodded once. "Someone powerful." Mara circled the room, letting the pieces settle. The chamber was too neat. No signs of struggle. Whoever killed the aide had done so cleanly, confidently. A professional. She turned back to the lawmakers. "There's tension between you two," she said. "Should I know why?" Lena looked away. Hale didn't. "We have history," he said. The air tightened. Not romantic, Mara sensed, something darker. A bond forged through shared secrets and broken trust. Before she could press further, the overhead lights flickered, plunging the chamber briefly into darkness. Mara's instincts flared. When the light steadied again, she saw fear in both lawmakers' eyes, real fear. "Agent Vance," Lena whispered, stepping closer, her voice trembling. "If we don't find who did this before the bill goes public, more people will die." Mara exhaled slowly. This wasn't politics. This was a battlefield. And someone had just fired the first shot. CID's underground archive was buried 5 floors beneath the Capitol, far below the public tours, far below the polished marble history. Down here, the walls sweated moisture, the lights buzzed with chronic exhaustion, and the air tasted like metal and forgotten truths. Mara Vance swiped her badge, and the vault door groaned open with a heavy exhale, as if reluctant to reveal what it kept locked away. She stepped into the dim, cold chamber. Rows of evidence lockers lined the walls like silent soldiers, and in the center, lit by one flickering fluorescent strip, sat the file she requested, a thin, black folder stamped with a red diagonal slash, CID's mark for cases deemed unsolvable or supernatural in their precision. The cutter. A ghost in human form. An assassin who left no trace except the exactness of the wounds and the chilling uniformity of the method. Mara flipped through photographs, bodies, each cut at the throat with a surgeon's confidence. No hesitation marks. No signs of struggle. Killings done up close, intimate, almost tender. She hated killers like that, the ones who acted as if murder were an art form. The kind who saw life as soft clay beneath a blade. What she didn't expect was the time-stamped footage slipped inside the folder. Capitol surveillance. 2 nights ago. A lower tunnel normally used only by maintenance crews. And there he was. The cutter. Clear as a confession. Striding beside Senator Hale Rowan. Mara froze. The senator's posture was relaxed, almost familiar. He handed the cutter a folder, thin, crisp, unmistakably stamped with the same black and red insignia. The proposal documents. The so-called tax credit extension. Her pulse sharpened. A partnership like that couldn't be anything but treason. The heavy door behind her clanged open, echoing like a gunshot. Representative Lena Cross stumbled inside, rainwater dripping from her coat in frantic rivulets. Her breathing came fast, uneven. She looked like she'd run the whole way down. "You found the footage," Lena said, voice tight. "Explain it," Mara demanded. Lena closed her eyes for a moment, gathering the courage to say something she'd been holding for far too long. When she spoke, her voice cracked, not from weakness, but from the weight of truth. "Hale isn't working with the cutter. The cutter is working for someone else, someone who once meant everything to him." Mara stepped closer. "Who?" Lena's jaw trembled. She pressed a shaking hand to the metal table, steadying herself. "Me," she whispered. But not willingly. Silence pulsed between them. Mara's mind raced, Lena connected to the assassin, Hale connected to Lena, all of it buried beneath political facade. "I didn't order anything," Lena said quickly. "I swear. But years ago, before I was in office, I made choices I can't erase. The cutter was tied to those choices. I thought I walked away. I thought it was over." Her voice lowered to a haunted rasp. "But someone resurrected my past. Someone is using him to destroy everything." Mara felt the shift then, not just fear but something darker, vulnerability, devotion, jealousy, desire, all tangled like wires sparking under Lena's skin. Lena took a step closer. "We're running out of time. If Hale knows the cutter is back, he'll do something reckless." Mara felt her pulse drum in her ears. This wasn't just a case anymore. This was a countdown. And the next body could belong to one of them. The abandoned Senate sub-basement was a tomb of forgotten architecture, a maze of rusted pipes, concrete walls, and flickering bulbs that cast long, nervous shadows. Mara Vance descended the final staircase with her gun drawn, feeling the stale air press against her skin like a warning. Every sound echoed, distant drips, humming electricity, the faint metallic ring of something being dragged across the floor. This place had been sealed decades ago, yet tonight it felt alive, pulsing with secrets. She spotted Senator Hale Rowan first. He stood alone in the center of the cavernous room, framed by a halo of broken light. His suit was torn at the shoulder, his jaw bruised, his eyes burning with a strange mixture of fury and resignation. In his trembling left hand, he held his gun. In his right, a blood-smeared folder, the stolen proposal. "Hale," Mara called softly, taking a slow step forward, "drop the weapon. We can fix this." He laughed under his breath, a hollow, exhausted sound. "Nothing fixes this, Agent Vance. Not anymore." Before she could respond, Lena Cross emerged from the shadows behind Mara, her breath ragged, her silhouette sharp against the light. She moved closer, shoulder brushing Mara's in a way that felt intentional, grounding, or maybe claiming. "Hale," Lena said, voice trembling. "Where is he? Where's the cutter?" A scraping sound answered her. From the far end of the basement, the cutter stepped into view, tall, masked, moving with the silent confidence of a man who'd killed in every continent and never feared the consequences. His gloved hand gripped a thin blade still wet with someone's blood. He walked with an eerie calm that made Mara's skin crawl. The cutter gestured toward Hale as if delivering a gift. "He brought the file," the assassin said, voice distorted through the mask. "Just like old times." Hale's face crumpled with something like grief. "Don't listen to him," he muttered, as much to himself as to them. "He's not here for the file. He's here for me." Mara tightened her grip on her weapon. "Why? Why all of this?" The cutter tilted his head slightly, like a predator studying potential prey. "Because Hale still owes me a debt. A life for a life." Lena stepped forward, eyes blazing. "This ends now." The cutter lunged toward her. Mara fired instinctively, the shot deafening in the concrete chamber. The bullet struck the cutter's shoulder, spinning him sideways, but he kept moving, impossible in his endurance. Hale shouted and tackled the assassin, the two men crashing into a wall of old filing cabinets that exploded into paper and dust. The struggle was vicious, fueled by history Mara didn't yet understand. Hale fought like a man who had run out of choices, out of excuses, out of hope. Blood streaked down his face as he grabbed the cutter's wrist, trying to force the blade away from his own throat. Mara took her shot. One bullet. Clean. Precise. The cutter collapsed, mask cracking as it hit the floor. The man beneath it stared up at Hale with something heartbreakingly human, betrayal, maybe even love, fading from his eyes as life spilled out. Hale sank to his knees, shaking, whispering a name Mara didn't recognize. Lena touched Mara's arm, her breath warm against her ear. "You saved us," she murmured. "But now we're bound to each other. And in our world, bonds are chains." Mara looked back at the two bodies, one dead, one dying, and felt the truth settle cold and heavy in her chest. This case wasn't over. It had only just begun.